Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Travel in Time with Dan show. Today I am in Farmington, Connecticut at the Riverside Cemetery. That's right, Farmington, Connecticut, also known as the village of Amistad. All right, so what's this all about? Well, let me tell you a little bit about this. There was these Mende people they were Africans, and they were kidnapped and sold into slavery down in Cuba, and then they were transporting them up to like a plantation in the U.S. And Cinque and the other Mende, they took the boat back, ended up killing the captain, a couple of the crewmates, took the boat back, and then forced the ones that were alive to sell them back to Africa. During the day, they did, because they could see where the sun was coming up and going down. They could see what direction they were going. But at night, you know, the Africans didn't know, the Mende people didn't know how to navigate by the stars. So the slave traders would turn the boat around and start heading it back toward the United States at night. And this went on for a couple of months. Eventually, a boat, the military, the Navy of the United States is going to see this, and they're going to grab this boat and tow it in to Long Island and arrest everybody. All right, arrest everybody. Eventually, they pull the Amistad boat into London, and they've got the Mende people, Cinque and his group, are in jail in New Haven. Okay, now this is back 1841-ish, when there was Connecticut actually had two capitals. You had the New Haven capital and the Hartford capital for about 150 years, and they went back and forth between like New Haven and Hartford for their trial. Now this was a really special trial. In Hartford, they were acquitted of the murder because they were saying, hey, these people were just trying to get their freedom, right? I mean, any one of us would maybe do whatever we had to do to get our freedom. All right, so they were acquitted of the murder charges, but then the property charges were still there. That went to a district court that was also tried in Hartford, and eventually they said, hey, these guys weren't really slaves to begin with. They didn't start off as slaves. They were kidnapped and forced into slavery, so they weren't really slaves. That's the whole slavery property thing doesn't hold here. All right, and this case is going to be appealed. It's going to be brought all the way up to the Supreme Court with the former president, John Quincy Adams, who's, his dad was part of the Revolutionary War and all that stuff, John Adams. He's going to be the lawyer, and he's going to argue successfully for the Amistad Mende people to be released and able to go back home, and they're found not guilty, which is fabulous. And this was a huge one of the court cases of the century and all that. Now, you think they could just go home, but they can't. They don't have the money to go home, and the United States is not going to pay for them. So Farmington, Connecticut, again known as the village of Amistad, takes them in, right? Takes them in. They're going to help them. They're going to do all sorts of great things for them and try to get them back home. You know, the First Church of Christ plays a big role in it. The community members, the abolitionists, play a big role in it. They put them in school. They give them places to live. They give them jobs. Why not? Some of them start learning English. Some of them start going a speaking circuit to start raising money for the fundraiser for them to go back home. The young girls, the ladies, are put in Miss Porter School, which is there today. It wasn't quite a school yet, but it's going to become Miss Porter School. So this whole grassroots fundraiser thing's going on, and the Mende people are actually helping this happen because they too want to go home after 18 months of court cases and whatever it was, 8 months or so of fundraising. They're finally going to get to go back home, which is like really cool. Although not all of them go back home, not all of them made it. One of them, Foone, is still here in this cemetery somewhere. Is Foone? I didn't find his gravestone yet, but he's here somewhere. He died swimming right over my shoulder. This is called Riverside Cemetery for a reason. Is that they've got a river back there. The old Farmington Canal was back there. The slave plantations are back there where they were picking. All that stuff is back there. He drowns. Foone drowns. And he's buried in this cemetery and thus never gets a chance to go back home. And he's still with us here in Farmington, Connecticut. All right. Now today, the Farmington Historical Society gives tours of this in the Underground Railroad, and you see the houses, Miss Porter's, and all that stuff, the church. You see all that stuff. I've been on it. It's freaking fascinating. It's really cool. They bring you down to the J. Timothy's Tavern and all that stuff, part of the Underground Railroad. So, I've talked about how this is a show that involves history with travel with leadership. So what is the leadership lesson here? Well, the leadership lesson here is, one, moral leadership, doing what's right. Okay, it was not right to kidnap and enslave these Mende people. Okay, and then the court system seeing that was the case and setting them free was great moral leadership. The other is community leadership. What Farmington did here is absolutely amazing. They took them in. They gave them jobs, put them in school, made sure they had food, a place to stay, buried one in the cemetery. They did all of this stuff where all these people came together within the community, not here just in Farmington, but across the United States as well. Well, not so community leadership and moral leadership, I think, are the lessons that we need to learn here. All right. So listen, I don't know where I'm going to be next, but wherever I am, it's going to be a great show where we're going to talk about travel, we're going to talk about history, and we're going to talk about leadership. And until then, I'll see you again real soon. You take care now.